Did you know that in the world of crime and deception, there are people who have gone to unimaginable lengths to escape their past, even faking their own death? It sounds like something out of a Hollywood thriller, but it's a reality for some. In today's video, we will dive deep into the story of a man who faked his death so convincingly that he almost got away with it. Stay tuned until the end because the shocking twist at number 1 will leave you speechless. The story begins in a small, quiet town where a man named John was living what seemed like a normal life. John had a family, a career, and even a few close friends, but behind the scenes, he was struggling. A mountain of debt, a criminal record, and an unbearable life weighed him down. Faced with the possibility of facing jail time, John made an audacious decision. Rather than serving time, he would fake his death. But how does one go about convincing everyone that they are no longer alive? It all started with a carefully crafted plan. John didn't just vanish. He needed a backstory, one that would make sense to those around him. He decided to stage a car crash. It was perfect. The crash site would be in an isolated area, far from where anyone would notice the details, and the body would be unidentifiable due to the extensive damage. But John didn't stop there. He was meticulous, ensuring every aspect of his fake death was flawless. He arranged for an accomplice to leave behind a body that resembled his own, setting the stage for a believable disappearance. It took several months of preparation before the perfect opportunity arose. On the day of the staged crash, John set everything in motion, and soon enough, the world thought he was gone. Little did they know, John was already planning his escape. John's execution of the plan was nearly flawless. He had studied countless cases of people who had tried to fake their deaths, learning from their mistakes. He knew that the key to making this work was ensuring that there were no loose ends. So, he did everything by the book. He had a friend buy an identical car to his, complete with the same model, year, and color. On the day of the crash, the car was driven into a ditch, and a body was placed in the driver's seat. The car was set on fire, and the remains were left behind to be discovered, but John was no fool. He knew that even the best-laid plans could go awry, so he took extra precautions. For one, he had arranged for a fake funeral service to be held. He even went so far as to get a death certificate forged to make it all look official. In his mind, there was no way anyone could prove he was still alive. He assumed the identity of a new person, adopting a new name and a completely different lifestyle in a different state. For years, he lived quietly, far from his old life. As time went on, the investigation into John's death began to lose steam. Authorities closed the case, assuming it was a tragic accident. But one investigator, Detective Sarah Thompson, wasn't convinced. She had seen too many cases where people went to extreme lengths to disappear, and something about John's case didn't sit right with her. Detective Thompson started digging deeper, examining every single detail of the crash. She found a few inconsistencies in the report that others had overlooked. First, the supposed accident site was known for being an area with poor cell service, yet there was a mysterious phone call made from John's phone shortly before the crash. Second, the so-called body left behind wasn't as unrecognizable as it was claimed to be. In fact, certain features suggested that the person in the wreck might not have been John at all. Her instincts told her that John might still be alive. She kept investigating, tracking down leads, and piecing together the puzzle. But with each new discovery, it became more apparent that this was a case that would require time, patience, and an incredible amount of evidence to crack. It wasn't until years later that the breakthrough came. In 2025, a tip-off arrived from an unlikely source, one of John's former colleagues. This person had been contacted by someone who claimed to know John, offering details about his life post-death. The story sounded too outlandish to be real, but Detective Thompson followed the lead anyway. What she found was a trail that led to a remote town in the Midwest, where John was living under the name William Cross. Detective Thompson moved quickly, gathering the necessary evidence. She found that John had been living comfortably, working a job at a local hardware store, and even participating in community events. He had kept a low profile, blending in with the locals, and his new identity had been well constructed. But it was in a chance encounter that John's carefully planned life began to unravel. While attending a local charity event, one of the volunteers recognized John from his past life. The shock on their face was immediate. They had seen through the carefully constructed mask. This was John, the man who had supposedly died years ago. Within moments, the volunteer had contacted authorities, and the wheels of justice began to turn once again. When authorities arrived to arrest John, they were in for a surprising twist. John didn't run. He didn't fight back. Instead, he sat in his living room, looking remarkably calm. "I knew this day would come," he said to Detective Thompson when she asked why he hadn't tried to escape. "The reason he got away with it for so long was simple. He had carefully studied every angle. He knew that most people who fake their deaths are caught because they make a mistake in their escape plan. But John had created a whole new life, with a new identity, in a community that had no idea about his past. Even when suspicion started to grow, he stayed under the radar, never making the kind of mistake that would lead investigators straight to him. But it was the small slip-up at the charity event that finally did him in. It was an innocent conversation that revealed his identity. And it was a lesson that even the most carefully laid plans can be undone by something as simple as a chance meeting. After John was arrested, his story became national news. People were shocked by the level of deception involved, and many marveled at how he had managed to stay hidden for so long. But for John, the consequences of his actions were now unavoidable. He faced multiple charges, including fraud, identity theft, and faking his death. As of 2025, John is awaiting trial, and the case is still making waves across the country. His story has sparked widespread debate about the lengths people will go to escape their pasts. Experts in criminal psychology have weighed in, discussing how John's case was one of the most intricate and daring fakes in recent history. But the fact remains, John got away with it, almost. His case has inspired a number of documentaries and podcasts, each trying to break down how he was able to pull off such an elaborate deception. But the big question remains, how many more people are out there right now, living under false identities, having faked their own deaths just like John? And will we ever find out just how many people have truly gotten away with it? The story of the man who faked his death and got away, almost, is a chilling reminder of how far people will go to escape their pasts. It's a tale of deception, intrigue, and a little bit of luck. But in the end, even the best laid plans can crumble with one small mistake. As John's trial unfolds, the world waits to see what the final chapter of this incredible story will be. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more intriguing stories from the world of crime and deception. And remember, always be cautious, because sometimes, not everything is as it seems. Thanks for watching. If you're curious about more mind-boggling stories like this one, check out the links to our other videos right here. Don't forget to subscribe for more.